Welcome back to Open Your Eyes, and we're moving now into our first segment. But just before we do, Mara,
Okay, so I wanna put all the blame on John.
What?
Because I would never do this. I'm just kidding. I am kidding, but now you get an extra special mention at this time because nobody should be crying on their birthday.
I know.
Happy birthday to
Henry.
6-year-old Henry
Norales. Happy birthday to you, Henry.
sweetheart.
Here's wishing you all the very best. Henry Norales, 6 years old today. Happy birthday to you.
All right, and Henry, you eat all the cake that you can today. You tell mommy that Miss Marlene and Mr. John said so. All right, we gotta get moving.
Yeah, we gotta get moving into our show. Our first segment is up, and it's actually about the youth perspective on this year's Garifuna Settlement Day theme and a review of the remainder of the activities to celebrate Garifuna Settlement Day. Now, in with us on Zoom, actually, we do have Melissa Zuniga. She is the project coordinator for the National Garifuna Council. Mel, good morning.
Wait Binafi.
There you go.
Wait Binafi. Good morning.
We're loving the colors on your girl. Love it. So let's kick things off with. I'm not sure. We don't have the theme here on us. I'm not sure if you've got it readily available there. But if you do, please share that with us. And let's talk about the activities and festivities.
Okay, so the theme for this year is All Both Amurinu, Agaboribe Garinago, Awase Wamalau, which is I for you, you for me is the Garifuna way. Let us move forward.
All right.
So that's this year's theme, yes.
Melissa, it has been a really interesting time for, I know, the work that's being done by the NGC for the Garifuna community. Knowing that we are in a pandemic and the traditional ways of celebrating aren't things that are possible, what are some of the thoughts and ideas coming out from members at this time as to how to adequately commemorate this day?
Well, most of the communities, they're in agreement that we need to, keep the crowds to a minimum or none at all. So they are embracing the virtual environment, and they're doing more virtual activities. So most of the branches, they're streaming their different activities on their Facebook pages. They're using Zoom. And so this year they have really embraced the new norm.
Okay. And some of the highlights that we've seen so far, tell us about that.
Okay, so the highlights have been the launch, which took place on November 1st. And so that was well received. We also have had 3 panel discussions. So the first one in November was about mental health. We had the youths on November 14th. They did a showcase where they also had a panel discussion, and they shared their views on, what it means to be Garifuna, how they see themselves fitting in to the bigger picture in terms of development and preservation of the culture. So that was very interesting. And on Tuesday, we had our 3rd panel discussion, which looked at Garifuna language preservation. And that was in collaboration with the Battle of the Drums Secretariat. And so we know that next year starts the International Decade for Indigenous Languages. And so it jumpstarts that decade and will allow us to prepare for and plan meaningful activities throughout the decade. So that was also an interesting dialogue where we looked at the language, the history of the language. We also looked at the standardization of written Garifuna. We heard from the youths as well. And then we also heard about how Garifuna is being integrated into the schools in the southern part of the country.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. I think the preservation of language is a key part of keeping the culture alive. And I've heard from the Garifuna Council over the years different innovative ways of being able to teach people more about the language and ensure that they are learning, I guess, the correct way of speaking it. There've been online classes. Things like your pageant also give young people the opportunity to be able to showcase how well they know the language. And of course, models like the school in Dangriga, Gulisi, where it is integrated within the classrooms. From your perspective, though, Melissa, as a young Garifuna woman, do you feel that more people are able to speak Garifuna now versus when you were growing up?
I think that there are less people, but those that do not speak the language or aren't proficient are expressing an interest in learning and making an active effort to learn or speak the language where possible. So it is becoming a plus because we are now embracing our culture more and trying to learn all the various aspects of that.
So if I hear you right, what you're saying is perhaps there was a bit of a shift. Before you had to talk it with granny or auntie, but now they want to learn how to talk it.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
So it's a great thing to capitalize on.
Yeah.
It is, for myself, being Garifuna, I really thrive off what you mentioned there, Marlene, whereby trying to learn the language has become something, and as a young person, I know I young, as a young person, trying to learn the language comes across more of a prideful way for me. Mel, while the forums were on, was there ever a time within those forums we talk about how the language have dwindled and what we want to do to try and bring it back up?
Yes, in the language preservation panel discussion that was discussed, Mr. Roy Cayetano, he did a presentation about how it can be integrated or how we can begin to look at teaching, a comprehensive look at teaching the language. So one of his recommendations were to ensure that there are material written and otherwise in Garifuna so that it can be taught at all levels. So his comparison was when you look at English, if you want to get a bachelor degree, master's degree in English, you are able to go and study that.
Yeah.
And it should be the same with Garifuna. So from the kinder all the way up, there should be material, there should be a curriculum, there should be ways that assessment can occur. And so that was one of his recommendations that should be able to guide us, as we move forward.
Do you feel it is one well receptive for the fact that it's just the Garifuna language? Who would you say should take this language course? Would it be just Garifuna, or I see April make mention she wouldn't mind as well?
Well, I think it could be anybody. There is a particular emphasis on encouraging Garifuna to learn their language, but there are other people who have embraced our culture who are interested as well in learning all aspects of our culture, and those persons will be welcomed.
That's awesome. That's awesome. One of the things I find interesting about the Garifuna language is how there's, and correct me if I'm wrong, because this is just stuff I've picked up over the years. There's formal and informal, and there's male and female. Right?
Yes. So yes, there are ways that you talk to your peers. There are ways
Mm-hmm.
that you speak to elders. There, because of the way that the Garifuna people came about, where we had the indigenous Arawakan and women, and then you had the African Carib men. There were two languages, and so you would still find elements of those where the males would use different words than the females.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also been a shift too,
That's what I
because
wondered. Yeah.
you have more single parent homes, or more of the children who grew up with grandparents, their grandmothers, and so they learned to speak the female version, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 And
That's
I give
fascinating.
an example of that would be that women refer to women in Garifuna as hiaru, while men refer to women as wuri. So
Mm.
there's a difference there where how us men speak to or of woman, and how women speak to of
Fascinating.
women. So
Yeah.
and that's one of the prideful things about being Garifuna for me, whereby we're able to channel these things, especially to our younger ones, so they know. So Mel, with respect to the theme, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, is Trevon? I think I saw. Oh, he's not in. All right. So Mel, with respect to the theme, how receptive was it, especially during the forum amongst the youth?
Okay, so the theme, it's been receptive, or it's been well received, because the Albo Amorano is the Garifuna mantra. That is the
Mm-hmm.
way that we live. We look out for each other. We help each other, and so the theme is based on that. Getting back to that, we had been moving away from that ideology, and so this theme is in an effort to bring us back to what we are, what we know ourselves to be, and how we live and how we perceive the world and our communities. And so we also had a theme song that was written, sung, and composed by Alan Baba Castillo.
Oh
He
wow.
wrote the song a few years ago, and he graciously gave us permission to use it. And it's very relevant. It speaks of the Garifuna reality. It speaks
Mm.
of our struggle, our exile from St. Vincent, and just how far we've come since then.
Mm.
Okay.
And you're right, because Aubu Amurunu means I for you and you for me. Aubu Amurunu. I we with the Battle of the Drums, we made a trip out to visit a man. His name is Francisco Avila, Jose Francisco Avila, who was so vocal about his culture. He's a mixture of mestizo mother, and Garifuna father. So vocal about his culture, so much so that New York, the state of New York, now recognizes or celebrates Garifuna Awareness Month from
Nice.
March 13th to April 15th. And the
Interesting.
mantra is what caught the eyes of those in Congress. Aubu, Amurunu, because that's exactly, Mel, the way that we live. You go into a Garifuna
Yes.
community, they'll ask you if you have eaten. They'll ask you if you have somewhere to stay. They'll ask you if you need to rest. That's our mantra, and I'm so proud of that, Mel.
Yes,
Uh,
indeed.
so Mel, let's shift gears now and talk. It's November 18th. Traditionally, everybody would be figuring out how they'd get south. Whose floor or couch they were gonna sleep on in Dangriga,
Or Hamak.
and preparing to stay up all night and await the reenactment. But how can people join in the celebration now?
Okay, so tomorrow, well, today, November 18th, is Garifuna Awareness Day. So that is a day where we encourage everyone to wear their cultural attire. We know that as the years have been going by, you have the traditional and you have contemporary styles. So it gives us an opportunity to just showcase our creative talent in terms of, you know, the combination of material used and the different styles. And so we encourage everyone to put on their attire and, you know, just be proud of who you are.
Yeah.
And as well, this afternoon at 1 p.m., Belmopan branch, NGC Belmopan branch is having a quiz contest, a Garifuna quiz competition.
Oh, okay.
And so that will also be streamed live on our Facebook page. Tomorrow, November 19th, we have the Euromay, which starts at 6 a.m. And it will be live, but with a limited number of persons there. And it's going to be streamed on our Facebook page. So you can, you know, log on to Facebook and experience that. Following the Euromay, we have the Mass.
Yes.
Which will start at 8 a.m. Again, live from Dangriga with a limited number of persons and streamed on Facebook. And following that is the official ceremony at 10 a.m. from Dangriga. So we are just encouraging everyone to join us on Facebook for those activities. So we're not doing any other specific activities in other communities because, you know, we're doing one big celebration from Dangriga, and we're just all streaming and sharing that.
And so people can join in all the fun on the Facebook page. They can check out the reenactment tomorrow and the Mass. And I saw that there was a list of activities that have already passed, so people can go back and watch those too.
Yeah, and that's a good thing about life, especially with everything being streamed, because you're actually able to go back and check it out. But Mel, we want to thank you so very much for joining us this morning. You know, you took us back and put things into perspective, especially with dealing with the theme and the lifestyle of Garifuna communities. Thank you so very much, Mel, and here's to wishing you all the very best.
Thank you, John and Marlene, and happy Garifuna Settlement Day to everyone.
Nice.
All right. You got it.
Yes.
You got it, Mar.
Oh, I was gonna say Sereme. Because that one I remember. But thank you so much, and we look forward to language courses in the future.
All right, so we're going to take the break, and when we come back,
well, before we head to the break,
what do we have?
Said, you know, there's a lot that you can do at home to commemorate Garifuna Settlement Day tomorrow. So we're going to be throwing you back to a flashback on this Thursday, since Chef Sean Quillen is prepping up a storm in here for Garifuna dishes. And I'm sorry to tell you, Hudut isn't one of them. He says that's too easy, but we'll still show you how it's made in this throwback feature. So let's check that out. When we come back, we'll be doing some live cooking in studio. So please stay tuned. One of the things people look forward to on November 19th is the Hudut. We're here at Linda Arana's home at the corner of Mahogany and Jasmine Street to find out how to prepare a traditional plate of Hudut. Let's go. Good morning.
Good morning, my dear.
This is Miss Linda Arana. She's going to show us how to prepare the Hudut.
Yes. Well, I'm at the first stage of the hudut, I would say. No, the second, because the first is to peel the plantain and boil them. And this is the second by preparing the fish.
So it's cleaned, it's cut, it's seasoned. What are you going to do with it now?
After this, I'm going to fry it. Then I'll prepare the gravy, the coconut milk. Then we'll put the fish in there after we have done frying it. When you fry this, you put it into the coconut milk.
The green plantain, it boil. When it don't cook, you take it out. You put it to cool. Then you start to beat.
All right, the plantain cool now. What do we do with it?
Okay, after it's cool, you take some and put it into your mortar. Hana in Garifuna. Hana
Hana
in Garifuna, yes.
How much plantain do I put into the Hana?
It depends on the size of your Hana. If your Hana is big, you can put a lot, but because this is a small Hana, you have to put in maybe 6 green plantains in there. You start with the green. When that is smooth, then you put in the ripe. Just like that. Excellent. You need to look for the ones that you haven't broken up yet.
Like this one?
Yes, like that, yes. So this is almost ready for the ripe plantains to go in there. So you add the ripe plantains and now you have to start to beat this again. So it comes together because you don't want the ripe plantains to be on one side and the green plantain to be on the other side. So you have to beat it together until it becomes smooth or one whole beaten plantain.
Yeah. So this is what the finished product looks like?
Yes.
All right.
Doesn't it look beautiful?
And you aim for the smooth consistency, no?
Yes.
The mixture of the green and the red. And this is what you get in your hoodoo.
Yeah.
So after you get one, right?
Okay.
How long do you put this on to boil now?
It will take a little time.
Yeah?
When it starts bubbling, then we'll add it in the fish.
So you bring it to a boil.
I will bring it to a boil. But right now, I'm going to put the pepper in there. We're adding in the pepper so that it can give it a flavor. It's like a flavoring.
Now the traditional meal always had the habanero pepper?
Yes, if you have in your yard.
Okay.
If you don't have, you don't have to.
That extra spice. That is the thyme.
And the cilantro. That's what I'm adding in now.
This is the malheur.
Let's give it a nice flavor.
Yeah, a lot of Belizeans use this as their seasoning.
They add the garlic into the soup now. The garlic.
That's a grated garlic?
Yes, the grated garlic. This can protect you if you are not. There are sometimes when people eat fish, they are allergic to it. The garlic helps them take off that allergy. I'm adding the fish right now because you say it's almost bubbling.
It's almost bubbling, so you add the fish?
And I add the fish. I have okra to add into now. The okra go in last.
Okay.
I'm adding all this lovely, nice okra. It's good for the blood, good for the veins. I'll bring you a sample of the nice hoodoo.
All right.
I want you to sample this hoodoo because it's very nice and tasty. You can go to, but you will not use a spoon, you know.
I noticed.
You use your hand.
So what? I pick up the hoodoo?
You pick up the hoodoo.
And I dip it in the gravy.
Dip it in the gravy. Yes, girl.
As close and?
Yeah. If you may eat pepper, you bust them pepper in there, you know.
I love pepper.
You bust the pepper.
Miss Arana, this is a wonderful hoodoo.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for allowing us to be a part of the process with you.
You're welcome.
I could practice home, but I'm very sure you not taste anything like this. So when I need my hoodoo, I'll come back to you.
Okay, sure. No problem.
All right.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you too.